Um, I'm sure you're all aware, you know, politics. I'm not a huge fan of, talking about politics. It's everywhere. It's like, especially now that like things are changing and it's like flooding the internet, and every news story is, like it's like you can't escape it. But like, it's related to me. Our president has, trying to enact another trans military ban. Um, I was enlisted uh, during the first one, um, and that's actually kind of like what led me down the rabbit hole of where I am today. Because like,
Mm.
um, I I used to like not really be this like sex worker. Like I used to not do porn, and there was a point in time where I wasn't doing adult content, you know, and I was transitioning, you know, before, like, like I was still active in some like really really small communities as far as like, you know, like expressing myself with other people that were like, either transitioning or, in the LGBT community, and like I was learning more about myself and expressing myself, and dressing and whatnot. And, I was starting my transitioning process, and I was being a good girl. I was focused on work. I was focused on doing my job. I just also happened to be transgender, you know. I uh I didn't, I didn't have this other side of me, like where it's all focused now with like my sex work, and it's like my primary, like it's who I am, it's what I do, it's my profession now. I'm not in the military anymore, obviously. I got out, started doing adult content. Here I am. Um, but what led me to where I am now is like I remember, because everybody's talking about it now. He's trying to enact these bans again, and it took me back. Like I remember that fucking day. I remember coming in to work, you know, did PT, you know, um, and I remember I can't remember if I knew before formation or if it was like after formation, but I remember being aware of it, and I'm in formation. It was either before or after PT, and our first sergeant's like, he puts out the notice like, I know what he said. Um, and he tried to like reassure me specifically, because I was the first person, um, on my installation that came out. I think I was like maybe one of two people that came out, and uh, it was just like, I remember it being complete chaos, because like the they had this like, you know process, you know established for like people to transition, or at least they claim to. And like, and then I finally was like, I learned about it, got the courage. I went in, talked to my doctor, and I was like, hey, I'm trans. And they're like, sorry, what? And so everybody kind of had to scramble to like figure out a plan to like how to how to deal with me, because I was just like, and fast forward, I'm like, I'm getting my paperwork done, I'm getting all my stuff signed, and I'm just waiting to get my paperwork back so I can like start growing my hair out, because like I've been on hormones already. People are already like asking like, what is that person? You know, because I'm like, I look like in between, you know, I look like I was basically like really short haired female, and people were like, what's that, to my supervisor, and he was just like, I know, but they would let me work because I did my job well, you know. um and I remember being in formation like months later. I'm full on trans, like my hair is grown out, you know, I'm getting like validation, people are accepting me at work, people are being like, hey, keep it up, you're cool, you know, because I was still part of the team, getting things done. My immediate supervisor was like Catholic, and she wasn't really a big fan of me, and she was constantly trying to like, I don't know, make my life at work uncomfortable. And same first sergeant that was like, you know, trying to reassure me that things are going to be okay. I know what he said. I know he said there's going to be a ban, but like, trust me, like, you're fine. If anybody gives you shit, you come talk to me. I'll kick their ass. And I was like, all right, cool. Like that makes me feel a lot better. And I feel awful that like not everybody had that privilege, you know, because a lot of units, I talked to a lot of other trans people that didn't get that same treatment, that were like, they had commanders that were like, not as, you know, giving them a full on path to, you know, just be themselves at work. And I was given that, and I don't understand why. But uh, that was given to me. And I just remember like being like, it was so surreal because like I was getting, you know, I was happy. I was happy with my job. I was happy working with the people that also did my job. I've talked to a lot of people that I worked with since then. They're like, they're not even in anymore, and they're like, I'm happy I escaped too. And I'm like, yeah, we got out of there, because it's like, yeah, it's a different world, different type of work lifestyle being in the military. They have high expectations of you, and I don't know. What am I even talking about?
Uh, the um, the recent trans, I guess, ban in the military.
Yeah, so that's happening again. And like, I don't know what to say to like try to be positive, give like reinforcement to people that are going through the same thing. Because I had privilege that was given to me at my unit, and others were not. And it's hard to watch. I see a lot of our other trans service members that are just like, they feel like, I've been in your shoes, with like feeling hopeless and not knowing what to do. Like, you feel like the walls are closing in because everybody's trying to take your rights away. They don't want you to exist at work. But there are people out there that work with you, that there are people that care. And I just hope that, you know, if you're a service member, if you're trans, I hope you find somebody that, you know, can give you that, you know, that shoulder to lean on, that positive feedback. I hope y'all find that, and I wish the best for you. We can only hope that it's not like permanent, you know. But
Mhm.
we're combating with a party that really wants it to be permanent. Like, that's the one thing they fucking care about more than anything, even more than our economy. That's the one thing they care about. They need to get fucking They need to get trans people out of their life, out of their sight. They don't want to see it. They act like it's
Yeah.
dishonorable. But that's the ironic thing about this, is that like if he hadn't done that, I would probably still be in the military. I'd probably be doing something more important, with my job. Hopefully, like I was, but then again, I was part of the military propaganda machine, so who knows?
Mm. Um, what what kind of job did you have in the military?
I was a journalist,
Oh, nice.
and um, I liked my job because of like the social aspect of it. Like I got to meet a
Mhm.
lot of people that did like really interesting things, a lot more interesting than what I did, and that part fascinated me, I guess, more so than the technological part of it. Because like I like video work. I like working with video. I like working with media. Why it was kind of an easy transition for me to do adult content. But I I really liked my job because of the social aspect of it. Because like how I got to meet all these like cool people that like did really cool things. Especially in the more technical side of things. I found really interesting. I don't really care about warfare so much. I think that's kind of boring, personally. But I worked with a lot of nerds that I thought had really cool jobs, and um, I made a strategic decision to, kind of transition away from being in the Department of Defense because it was becoming a hostile work environment. With people not wanting me to exist, people thinking that like I was um, less than a person, and definitely not a team member. More like that's what they wanted. Like no, that's they're a liability. This is the trans person is a liability for some reason. It's like what? Why? Like I'm fine. I'm doing my job. I was a journalist, you know?
Yeah, I guess that's like one thing I don't understand because I'm like looking at
But
uh
conservatives they hate journalism.
yeah, I'm reading the executive order and that's something I kind of I don't understand because there's a lot of different positions in the military. Um, there's you have your journalists, you have your IT departments, you have I mean a guy even reached out to me for a supply chain management for the military, which sounded horrible. And I was like, hell
Hmm.
no. But the fact is, there's all these, because it kind of seems like the argument, and this is just what I'm like reading online right now, is it seems like the argument is that like these, like Trump is trying to promote like the, I don't know, excellence of the US military. Like he wants us to be better. And he's saying that like trans people are making our armed forces weaker, I guess. But, anyways, so if you don't want them in combat positions, okay, whatever. I disagree with that as well. But there's so many other positions that are not combat related positions. Like you have so many behind the scenes people getting stuff done. And I don't really get it. I don't understand the ban. I don't understand why you would, if people are willing to join the military, to join your cause, um, for you to be like, no, you can't even be a cook. You know, like I don't understand it.
It makes no sense. Like you said earlier, the combat side of things, I don't care about that personally. Like again, coming back to like warfare, I don't I think warfare is fucking dumb. I mean, in concept, just the fact that people fight in general, you know, is stupid. But here we are. It exists. It's a thing. It's apparently necessary for some reason. So, what even is there to say?
Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. Um, I've I've mentioned this before, but there's so much stuff going on every single day that it's hard for me to keep up with. And I think that's part of his strategy, to be honest. Like, just overwhelm news medias, so like you can't stay up to date on what's going on. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but yeah, every day I wake up to, I feel like 50 different headlines of like, oh, well, Canada and Mexico are going to start putting tariffs on US. And oh, China said this. And oh, Trump signed 50 more executive orders. And oh, Elon and his Doge team took over some sort of financial important thing. And it's like, I don't have time to sit here and read all of this, and those are legit like headlines from today, by the way. I don't have time to sit here and read all of it. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, they're trying to do a lot really quick, and it's concerning. Being a trans person, I'm concerned. you know.
Well, me as a non-trans person, I'm concerned, and I think there's a huge part of our country that's very concerned right now,
Yeah.
just in general.
Like I want to be hopeful. Like I want to be. I want to hope that moving forward that the world isn't on fire. But I don't know. It feels like all evidence is pointing. At least for me, it feels like the world's on fire. But I'm trying to be positive, and I hope you know we we want to be a positive place where like I don't want to fucking sit here and talk about politics every day. It's just like I bring up the military trans ban because
Mm.
it's relevant to me. I went through the first one. I have an opinion on it. Like I don't really talk a lot openly about my military background. You know, I just don't. It's not something I'm like really like crazy proud of. You know, because I lost faith in it. That's why I quit. Like I was like, what is this service like? I'm working for a system that's against me. You know,
Yeah.
so I made an alternate plan. I found out that there was a a way for me to make money doing adult content, and I kind of leaned on that. I leaned on my community that actually you know gave a shit about me. So
So looking at this, and again, I don't know how accurate this is. Um, but according to this news article, there's approximately 14,700 transgender troops in the U.S. Armed Forces right now.
14,000. Oh my god, that's so big until you actually look at the total max number of our DoD, and you're like, oh, actually, shit, that's not a lot of people.
It's not a lot of people, but still to
But
like
people don't math very well, Jay. They
But
don't.
still to like turn away like 14,000 people and being like, "No, sorry." Like that's a that to be honest, that's a lot. That's a higher number than I thought. Um I don't know, that's just really weird, and like you said, like to tell those like 14,000 people like, "Hey, because I do think that if you're in the US military now, you can stay in the military. I could be wrong on that. But it's preventing anyone else from joining, like enlisting now. Again, could be wrong. But it's like you pointed out, it's really hard to be like, hey, continue to serve your country when at the same time the country's telling you like, we don't want you to though. Like,
Yeah. So
I
like,
don't know.
and that's kind of why I have this bias of like I felt abandoned during the first one, you know? So like I just abandoned them right back in return. I was just like, you know what? Fuck you then.
Yeah.
I was making more money than what they were paying me anyway. So I was just like, sayonara. So
Yeah.
I'm much happier being away from that environment. Like I liked my job, and I was good at my job, or at least I was told I was good at my job. I you know, I don't know. I don't have a personal opinion on the content that I created for them, but because I didn't really care about it, because it was stuff I didn't care about, because I was limited creative you know expression on things. Because it's military. They're just like just do just capture it, put a caption on it. You know, they don't they don't really care if you spice it up.
Right.